Right, I think we are good. I'm going to share my screen and pop out the chat. Hopefully, everybody is having a lovely day. And let's share the screen. All right. So,
Candice, how are you?
hello. Hi. Okay,
How are
we're
you?
good. Say, I'm good, Elena. How are you? Let's get into it. I want to make sure everybody can see. I can see the chat. I can see this. You all can see that. And where did we leave off? Yep, that's exactly where we left off. So, let's get right. Oh, the first thing we're going to say is usually I have a class on Friday, but this Friday I will be at a funeral. So no class this Friday, but if I come back early enough, maybe I'll do an extra one next week or maybe Sunday night. I might randomly go live. So we'll see how it goes because I feel bad not doing two in one week. So depending on how my Sunday is, maybe if I get home a little early, then just make sure you're following me on YouTube. And that way you'll get the notification if I go live. If, it just depends on how everything goes. So, having said that, just remember for all my people that are new here in the Zoom room, for tonight, if you are on camera, then they'll see you on YouTube, and that's fine with me if it's fine with you. Otherwise, they can hear you and whatnot. So, hey,
Candice,
Antonio. Yes, Miss
I
Elena.
I wanted to ask you something about.
Mhm.
I passed the exam, but for me, it's hard to find right now a company because the company is a lot. But also, I have a friend. She told me I don't need training. Like the most important is clients. So I have no idea what to do.
Okay, do not listen to that person. You most definitely 100% um need training. Like you this taking a pre-licensing class does not prepare you for real estate. To do real estate, it's like going to med school. It's the equivalent of having a doctor who just graduated from med school. You need them to have their rotations and learn how to take the knowledge they've got and apply it to the human body to make you better. That is you. You now have the basics because you passed. Yay! Rosalinda says, congratulations. We're happy you
Thank
passed,
you.
but now I need you to, do your rotations, do that, as doctors do. You got to learn how to actually take all this knowledge and apply it. So do not listen to that person. When I get back, we can email me. We can talk about some options and different companies and things like that. But
Okay.
everybody needs to find a company for training. In fact, I
Yes.
know it's very tempting to go with just the company that has the lowest splits, but low splits, like so you don't have to give that much to them. You got to ask about that training because you don't want to get sued. I do have a
Yes.
full house today. I do. I do. All right, so let's get to it. Number 52, don't mind the rain spots on my sweatshirt. I said I was, who waited till the last minute to pack and shop? Obviously me. Okay, so number 52. Regulation Z covers A, borrowing from relatives, B, borrowing by a business, C, real estate credit transactions, or D, inheritances. What are we thinking? Go ahead if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can put it in the chat. If you're in Zoom, you can put it in the chat or come out and say it. Patricia, you have news. Patricia, what news do you have for me? I know the people in the Zoom room can't see it.
And I
Uh,
wanted to ask, did Patricia pass or not?
we'll
Patricia,
see
we
just
are
how she
waiting.
says. She has news
We are
with not
waiting,
one and
Patricia.
not two, but three exclamation marks. I don't know. We got to wait for her to tell me, but I think that we'll be doing something in a second. Patricia, don't leave us hanging. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but let us know. Now, while she's letting us know in the YouTube, I've got C's, I got C's, I got C's. I got lots of you all telling me you think the answer is, oop, helps if I learn how to use my computer. Doo. A lot of people telling me it's C. So, Patricia, come on, you got it. You're killing us here, Patricia. You got to tell us. What do you know? We need to know. And yes, our answer is C. Let's make that green. C is our answer. Of course, it is real estate credit transactions because we know it is not businesses. And, borrowing from relatives, borrowing's a loose word. I mean, do you have to actually pay them back? And then inheritances will be something completely different too. Patricia passed her exam. What does Skid say? And it gets
Good job, good job. Good job, good job. T-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job, good job.
Hey, and
My money don't jiggle, jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle, wiggle, for sure.
I am so proud of you, Patricia. You have been working so hard on this for so long. Oh, I'm so proud. Of course, I'll miss you coming every day. You can still come, but that is what I love to hear. You passed. We love that for you. Yay! In fact, I want to hear it one more time just because.
My money don't jiggle, jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle, wiggle, for sure.
Ah, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Congratulations. Oh, yes, it makes me happy. All right. So let's keep on going. But oh, Patricia, that just yay. I can't wait to do that for every single one of y'all. A contract that gives someone the right, but not the obligation to buy at a specified period, at a specified price. That says price. A specified price within a specified time frame is it A, a contract of sale, B, an option, C, an agreement of sale, or D, none of the above? What are we thinking?
An
All right.
option.
Oh, okay. See, Caroline said, I know this one. Caroline came
I
out
agree.
strong. She did. Oh, Caroline, I was actually thinking about you the other day. I was reading and I was going through TikTok and there was a video and this man had like a wasp's nest, maybe like this big on his door. And what he did was he put gasoline on his hands and then he grabbed all the wasps and mushed them up. And somebody in there said, "Is this the beginning of I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee gone wrong?" Right? I was like, I could hear the song in my head. I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mama be so proud of me? And then he smushed it and it was over. I mean, but the song says she's smushing up my baby. And he sure did. He grasped
That's
those
funny.
wasps. So there we go. All right. So yes, you all are absolutely right. It is an option because we know in an option, the seller must sell, but the buyer doesn't have to buy. What type of contract is it? Unilateral or bilateral? Is an option unilateral or bilateral? Oh,
It's
Patricia,
unilateral.
unilateral. Very
Yes,
good.
unilateral.
It is unilateral. And Patricia,
Because it's only one promise. Sorry.
one promise. That's okay. Patricia, you could have done it without me. May not have been as much fun, but you could have. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so blessed and thankful that I could help you with this. So there's that. All right. Next one. The prohibitions of the 1968 Fair Housing Act apply to, is it A, multifamily dwellings of 5 or more units, B, multifamily dwellings of 4 or fewer units if the owner occupies one of them, C, single family dwellings, or D, none of the above? The prohibitions of the 1968 Fair Housing Act apply to multifamily dwellings of 5 or more units, multifamily dwellings of 4 or fewer units if the owner occupies one of them, single family dwellings, or none of the above. I'm kind of stuck on this one. I'm like, what are you trying to say? Okay, let's think this one through. What are they trying to say? Which of these would have to apply? Okay. 1968 Fair Housing Act. So we know we have 4 exemptions, right? Our exemptions are for sale by owners, all right? If it is an owner occupied with, if you're living there and it's got to be less than 4 or less units. We've got clubs and religious, and we have, call old people today. Call them old people. I know that's hard to see. So we know we can take off this one. You are exempted from the multifamily dwellings of 4 or fewer units if the owner occupies one of them. Well, single family dwellings, maybe. I mean, if you're selling just a regular old house, you would have to follow the rules of the Fair Housing Act. We know it's probably not none of the above, but if it's a multifamily dwelling of 5 or more units, you would have to do it too. Hmm. Hmm. What are we thinking? Anybody? Because now I'm confused.
A's the better answer.
Yeah, I was thinking between A and C, but I'm leaning more toward A.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think I like A too. I know it's not D because it's either A or C. And maybe they were thinking this was the FSBO. Like we know for sure that you have to follow fair housing for this one. But single family dwellings does have that window. So we're gonna go, I think we're gonna go with A, right? We're gonna go with A.
Yes.
Yes.
A for we'll see. All right, let's see, because I don't even know this one, y'all. Let's see what they say. Boo, 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 boo. By the way, y'all won't have to see me lean over to look at the answers anymore because I'm going to get some contacts. But the answer is A. Hey, we got it right. We got it right. Hey, we got it right. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance. Hey, 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 hey. You know what, guys? I love this question only because you all did exactly what I've trained you to do, and I've got to make sure I do it. A was the best answer because we knew it for sure. C maybe could have worked, but A was the best answer. Love it. Love it. And I see in YouTube, I have a question. Claudia, you said acceptance and deliver to close an offer starts when? When we, the buyer and seller, sign the contract purchase agreement, there's an agent saying that when there is a counter offer and a counter is accepted, then due diligence starts, even if it's 8 p.m. All right, so I'm gonna say this because I think this is a good question for everybody. We know, oop, in order to get under contract, you have to have, I can't stand that orange anymore, an offer and acceptance. Right? So this usually it's going to be the buyer. The buyer gives an offer to the seller. And the seller could either accept it or they could reject it or they could send a counter offer. All right? And so then once that counter offer goes from the seller to the buyer can either accept it, the buyer could reject it, or the buyer could counter the counter offer. Now, what you're saying is that the agent said, where'd it go? I don't know where the question went, but it was something about the agent told you that you weren't under contract. Well, the minute the seller counteroffered, that original offer is dead. If that buyer accepts it, the buyer needs to, seller, if the buyer accepts it, the buyer signs and he needs to tell the seller or the seller's agent or something. So yes, The minute the buyer signs and notifies that seller that they've signed, you are under contract. And that is when your due diligence or your under contract escrow time, depending on what state you're in, that's when it starts. Once that buyer, so if the seller gave a counteroffer to the buyer accepted it by signing it. And then either the buyer tells the seller, the buyer's agent tells the seller, the buyer tells, somebody on the buyer side got to tell somebody on the seller side, hey, I've accepted your counteroffer and I've signed it. And that's when you're under contract. So at that point, the buyer can't decide to just back out. They would need a contingency or the due diligence money. The seller can't say, oh, here comes another offer. I think I'd like to take that one. Once they have accepted and they tell the seller, you're under contract. So I hope that answers it. It doesn't matter what time it is. It could be 11:50 p.m. Once that buyer tells the seller or notifies the seller, the seller's agent, the broker of the seller, whoever, somebody on the seller side that they've signed and accepted, we're under contract. So let me know if that doesn't answer the question, but hopefully for everybody that makes sense because you all know you are going to be tested on this. You are most definitely going to be tested on this concept. All right. Okay, I think we're good on that one, but we'll see. And I just want to make sure, because Amy, I'm talking to you on this one. Are we all good with the mailbox rule? Amy and I met this week to talk about it, but this mailbox rule, is everybody understanding how the mailbox rule affects accepting an offer? If you need me to go over it, say so.
Yes, Candice, good evening. Can you please go over one more time quickly
Yeah,
on this
sure.
one?
So when it comes to the mailbox rule, let's say that you have a seller over here, you have a buyer over here. Now, I'm just going to do seller and buyer, but obviously there's a broker over here and because we're talking about real estate and having agents, a broker over here. What happens is if a buyer sends an offer over to the seller, the seller has to sign for us to be under contract. And then we got to close the loop. The seller's got to tell this buyer, hey, I've signed. So we know that the seller could, give the signed contract back to the buyer. But the way the mailbox rule is that the seller could put in the mail, he could put literally into the mailbox, or he could give it to UPS, or he could give it to FedEx. The minute he gives it to that physical mail company, then we consider, it is considered notification or, delivered. The minute they drop it in the mailbox. Now you can send an email. And I know a lot of students think it's weird, but email and the mailbox rule are very similar. If the seller sent an email at 7:50 p.m. to the buyer saying, hey, I signed, we're under contract, nobody would question that, hey, buyer, at 7:50 p.m., you were told that, you're under contract, if that's what your state allows or, whatever. That doesn't seem crazy to anybody. It's even if the email doesn't get read until 9:30 that night, we would consider 7:50 p.m. being the time that, you were told. It's the same with the mailbox. If this was put in the mailbox at 7:50 p.m., then that's when you're under contract. Now, remember, this only applies to offer, like telling somebody, I've accepted your offer. You can't terminate offers or terminate contracts or give notice any other way. This is just for telling one party, hey, I've accepted your offer. Right? So if it was emailed at 7:50 p.m., you know, oh yeah, 7:50 p.m. is not my problem if you didn't read it. If you faxed it at 7:50 p.m., it hit your fax machine at 7:50 p.m. It's not my problem your fax machine was out of paper. Well, if you drop it in the mailbox, then common law says, okay, you have notified the other side, even though they don't know. It's not about the postmark, it's about when it was dropped in the mailbox, which is why a great agent nowadays would not do this. So, but also remember, it has to be mailed to the other side. The seller would have to drop it over to the buyer. If the seller puts in the mail to their broker, that's as if they mailed it to themselves. It has to cross this wall of separation. Hannah, does that help?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Good. Good. I mean, it's a hard one. And again, Claudia, if you needed me to go over anything else with that asking about when does due diligence start, just let me know. All right. Good questions. No, I don't need AI help. Thank you. 55. Consideration that is of value, right here. Consideration that is of value only to the person who receives it is called good consideration, near consideration, valuable consideration, or no consideration. Is it good, near, valuable, or no?
I'm thinking good consideration.
All right, we got it. A, good consideration. What else is somebody else thinking? Anybody?
A, good consideration.
You like good consideration? Okay. Anybody else? Now, I think this one is pretty picky. Well, it's not no consideration. I mean, if the thing of value has value to the person you're giving it to, then it's not consideration. And I'm pretty sure all of you know it's not near consideration. But this valuable consideration, no, it's good consideration is because it's good to that person who received it. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but there's another word, valuable consideration, it's something. But yes, when it's good consideration, it means, yeah, it's all good because, hey, yeah, I can give this to you and you'll be okay with it. Because as long as it has value to the person who receives it, we all good. We are good in the hood. All right. Good, Claudia. I'm glad that answered your question. 56. An easement in gross. An easement in gross. So this is where I'm hoping what you all are going to in your head is saying, oh, well, what do I know about easements? I know there's two types of easements. I've got an appurtenant easement, or I have an easement in gross. We know the appurtenant easement has the dominant tenement and the servient tenement. And we know our easements in gross are either going to be commercial, like utilities, or personal. All right. I know that's hard to read in black, but that says personal. So hopefully when you see easement, you think, oh, I do know a lot about easements. So an easement in gross covers an entire property and all parts of it. B, extends to one person only. C, extends to the general public. Or D, occurs when the public has used private land without hindrance for a certain amount of time. What are we thinking? All right, I got a B. Rosalinda, you said B. All right. Well, let's go through and eliminate some stuff. Covers an entire property and all parts of it. If I give you an easement, because we know it's not an appurtenant easement. That's not what we're talking about here. But if I give you a commercial easement, then that's like a gas line. Or if it's a personal easement, I'm giving you the right to cross my land. No, I don't. It covers an entire property and all parts of it. No, because you could say, "Hey, I'll let you use this part of my land." So I'm gonna have to eliminate A. Extends only to one person. Well, that would be true if it's a personal easement in gross. If it's a personal easement in gross, if I say, hey, Trix, speaking of, if I say, hey, Trix, you can cross my land to get to the beach, right? Then it only extends to Trix. It doesn't affect, and nobody else has the right. She can't will it, she can't sell it. So I do like B. Extends to the general public. Well, I mean, if it's a commercial easement in gross, it would. Well, no, yes, that one's got to go. I'm like, well, it depends. If you have like a gas line crossing, if you have a easement in gross gas line and the gas company has an easement, it wouldn't extend to the general public. I think I have to eliminate C. And occurs when the public has used private land without hindrance. No. I mean, that's how you could create an easement. I think I have to go with B, extends to one person only. Anybody feeling that answer? Amy, you said B. Caroline, you said D. This would be how you create it. I mean, it could be created that way, but it's just asking. I think that B is our better answer choice here. I'm going to have to go with B. Anybody else? Let's see. I think I'm going with B. All right, let's see. B for baby boy or baby please, baby Jesus. Let this be right. Trick says B too. This is what, number 56? Hey, the answer's B. The answer's B. Hey, the answer's B. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance. Hey, 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 hey. We got it. It is B. Again, this is kind of like this one. B is our best answer. I kind of would have to make this one work. Well, maybe if you did this. And we know D, you could create it, but that's not what it's asking. Yeah, most definitely. An easement in gross, a personal easement in gross only extends to one person. Boom. That's our answer choice. All right. And Claudia, you said, we sent a counteroffer to the seller and the seller accepted it last night. The agent emailed us the acceptance while we were asleep and we saw it this morning. Our agent told our agent DD started yesterday. Well, yeah, they are correct. The minute the seller accepted the counteroffer and somebody emailed it to you or your agent, even if you were asleep, especially if you're in North Carolina, since it was emailed, then yes, your due diligence started yesterday. And I'm assuming that means you put in the due diligence date and the due diligence time period a number of days and not a particular date. So there you go. All right, 57. A condominium homeowners association may. A condominium homeowners association may A, require that certain owners sell their units and leave. We don't like you anymore. Get out. That's not it. B, assess fees for the upkeep of common property. I like that one.
I like to.
Me too.
The best.
Practice discrimination if it's done subtly.
This one is the best. B.
I don't know who wrote this question, but this test, but they kind of have a little very funny sense of humor here. And then D, it's not none of the above because we know they can do B. Our answer is B, assess the fees for the upkeep of the common property. All right. 58. If the government takes private property, it must, A, must make just compensation for the property taken, and B, require the property. Shouldn't it be acquire the property for public use?
For sure, it's acquire, not require, but acquire.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
it's acquired for a public use.
I
And
mean,
compensation, pay only the compensation and acquire for the public use for sure.
I think they mean acquire. I mean, or they could take it and require it be used for public use, but I do believe I like it either way. So I think C. Rosalinda says C. I like it. Rosalinda says C. And our
I
answer,
think it's C.
yeah, I think it's C too. I think this word require or acquire, that's kind of weird, but either way, they could acquire it for public use, or they could say, hey, we're taking it and it has to be for public use. So I like it either way. Let's go with C. Both A and B. Hey, everybody do the snake a little bit. Mm. Okay, maybe it's just me doing the snake. It could just be me. It could just be.
I'm doing it.
Trix. I know Trix is over there dancing, so there we go. Do we feel like mathing? Do we feel like mathing? No, not today. Good God. There's a number of math problems. We can do those another day. All right, 62, because we skipped the math. And just as a reminder, if you're in California, you all know I still want you to know the math concepts because you could have non-calculator math. If you're in any other state, I want you to know the math. And in most states, can you fail this, all the math, and still pass this test? Yes. But you're going to be helping people with your largest financial contribution of their lives, or, transaction of their lives. So I want you to know it and feel comfortable with it. 62. A single family home privately owned by an individual owning fewer than 3 such houses may be sold or rented without being subject to the provisions of the Fair Housing Act unless. So a single family home, a FSBO, who owns less than 3 homes would not be subject to the provisions of the Fair Housing Act unless A, a broker is used, B, discriminatory advertising is used, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. What are we thinking? Well, I happen to know that it's not, well, you cannot be discriminatory in your advertising ever. That's just not how any of this works. You could be a FSBO, and the Federal Fair Housing Act says, you know what? If you choose to sell it to somebody, as long as it's not race, based off of your religion, you're cool. But the minute you put that in advertising, you've got a problem. And the same thing with using a broker. Once you get a broker involved in this, it is no longer for sale by owner. There is not a single broker or salesperson in the United States that is allowed to discriminate. So that means both of those are correct, making our answer C, both A and B. I see you, Trix. Good job. All right, 63. The transfer by a tenant of certain rights and obligations of an existing lease to another tenant is called A, an assignment of lease, B, assignment of lease, B, a release, C, subletting, or D, an eviction. Well, I'm really hoping that you all know that it is not D, an eviction. That would be, very good. All right. Antonio says A. Anybody else? Amy, you said C. Rosa.
I'm going with C as well.
Yeah. And Antonio, I hate to break it to you, but Antonio, you are the weakest link. The answer is C. The answer is C, and here's why. Because it's certain rights. So I know when they're kind of coming through here, when you sublet, you still have some responsibility. If you assigned it, then you could assign it and not have any, it's possible to have not any responsibility. You said you answered too fast. That's okay. That's okay. It gave me a reason to play the Price is Right sound, and I love it. So yes, our answer is C, subletting. All right, our next one. A contract for deed is also known as. A contract for deed is also known as. So this is where having those acronyms is very, very helpful. Is it A, an installment land sales contract, B, a land contract, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B? All right. Tricks, I think that was for this question. You're saying C. Amy says C. Was that from this one, Amy? I think.
I'm saying C too, but I have a question. Doesn't installment land sales contracts and land contracts, aren't they the same?
Mhm.
Are they are, okay.
Which is why our answer is most definitely C. These are synonyms for each other. So I always learned it as an installment land contract. And even when I first started teaching, I always called it an installment land contract. And there was a note in my book that said, oh, it could also be, AKA a contract for deed. And then as I started helping people in other states, I saw, well, some people call it a land contract. All three. And this is where you get those extra points. This could be that point that takes you over the edge for passing. You got to know our synonyms. Because you could know what a contract for deed is. You could know what an installment land contract is. But then maybe you're like, well, I've never heard it called a land contract. Yes, you have. Because you went over these questions. And I can honestly say, if I had not done this when I was studying for this exam 20 years ago, I would have gotten caught on those synonyms. Taking these just, oof, it makes a difference. So good job, y'all. Look at y'all. All right, we got math. We got math. See, I'm telling y'all, math, math, math. I am not joking when I say 10 years ago, there was way more math on this exam. So number 68. An estoppel certificate is required when an estoppel certificate is required when, is it A, the mortgage is sold to an investor, B, the property is sold, C, the property is being foreclosed, or D, the mortgage is assumed? What are we thinking? Anybody? Number 68. Anybody? Is that you all? Was this is in my Zoom room? Are you all giving me an answer? Is that a C from before or C for this one? What are we thinking? Well, let me help. It is not when a property is being foreclosed. Now you got a 33 and a third chance. And I think if you really stop and think about it, every time a property is sold, you don't get an estoppel certificate, because if you did, then you wouldn't be like, I've never heard of that before. No, you're not getting an estoppel certificate every single time, because remember, you got this word required. And this is a national exam, so you know that it's not required. And I'm giving you the hint. It's when the property is foreclosed, that's not when you're getting an estoppel certificate either. So then the question becomes, well, what is an estoppel certificate? What is an estoppel certificate? Well, I know we've got this word estoppel here. And we know that that word does have to do a lot with agency. Like you do see the word estoppel in agency. And this is the doctrine of estoppel. It's this idea that you can't just act a certain way and say certain things and then be like, oh, but you just inferred that. It's not true. I never really said that. No, that's kind of how you can create agency. But that's not an estoppel certificate. So you said D. Good. It was a guess. Caroline said C. It's not that. Actually, our answer is A. An estoppel certificate is what, when you have investors, especially if you're doing commercial real estate, maybe it's an office building with 10 different leases within the apartment and the office building. There's going to be this certificate or this basically this report that tells the buyer, the investor, hey, you know, the first person we have leasing is this, or the first company we have leasing this. This is when the lease ends. This is how much they're paying. This is the details, blah, blah, blah. All right. So that is what an estoppel certificate is, making our answer, yeah, A. It's so when you're selling it, like if you're, think about it this way, if you're the bank and you're buying this mortgage and you want to say, okay, is this going to be good? Are people going to pay whatever? They're going to want to know what's going on. Right? It doesn't have anything to do with the mortgage being assumed. That would be the debt, you know, a new person owing money. But yeah, if the mortgage is sold to an investor, they want to see what are these leases that are already existing. Yeah. All right, 69. You know what? I didn't have to do it, but now I want to do a little brain rot for all of you all that have kids. 6, 7. Yeah, hello, Kat. Hi. You saying hi to everybody? Go away. 69. An owner who seeks a mortgage loan and offers 3 properties as security will give. An owner who seeks a mortgage loan and offers 3 properties as security will give A, a blanket mortgage, B, an FHA mortgage, C, a conventional mortgage, or D, a chattel mortgage. All right, we got lots of A's going on in my Zoom room. We got A's, A's, A's. Well, if it's A, then that means Antonio says A, we should be able to say, well, why not? Why are those other ones wrong? Well, we know an FHA mortgage is you're getting money from the bank, but you're getting your mortgage insurance from FHA instead of a private source. So it's not mortgage, it's not FHA mortgage. And we know if it's not an FHA or VA or USDA loan, you know, if it's not a government loan, it would be a conventional loan, which means the government is not guaranteeing or insuring the loan. So yeah, that's not the definition. This is not the definition of a conventional mortgage. A chattel mortgage. Chattel. What chattel? What's the other word for chattel? What does chattel mean? What does chattel mean? Anybody?
Personal.
Personal property, that's right. So that would be, you're using the personal property as, you know, as part of the thing. No, that's not it. Making our answer most definitely A, a blanket mortgage, which even though this is worded funny, a builder who seeks a loan and has 3 properties they want to use as security, well, yeah, that's a blanket mortgage. Don't let the funky wording trip you up. Okay. 71. A contract that has no force or effect is said to be A, voidable, B, void, C, avoided, or D, voidated. Is that even a word? Is voidated a word? Voidated. I think it has to be voidated. I don't know. I just voidated.
So it's B.
I need to know, is voidated a word? I don't even have Uncle Ray with me because my phone was dead. I need somebody to look it up. Somebody needs to look it up. Tell me, is voidated a word? And yes, of course, our answer is a B. It is void because it has no force or effect. It would be voidable if there was a reason why one person could, you know, get out of it, 1 or 2 of the people, and, you know, one of the parties to the deal could get out of it or the agreement, then it would be voidable. But since it has no force or effect, none, that's void. Right? It's void. So does that make sense? I see you say A, Antonio, but void means it has no force or effect. If it's voidable, then there's at least one party in that agreement, in that transaction, that the courts could force to go through and, do what you promised to do. So it sounds close, but it's not exactly the same. All right. You got to go over your vocabulary. Well, if only you knew a teacher who does vocabulary twice a week, except for this week. Remember, no Friday. Sorry, guys. Maybe Sunday. Which of the following statements is or are false? Which of the following statements is or are false? Is it A? Look, no, false. We got 3 true statements, 1 false statement. So FHA loans are insured loans. Is that a true or a false statement? FHA are insured loans. Well, if you were
Yes, that
listening,
is true.
that is true, right? I just talked about it there. We know FHA loans are insured loans. You're getting the mortgage insurance from FHA. You're still getting the money from the bank. So we know the answer is not A. VA loans are guaranteed loans. Well, that's a true statement. We know A is true. We know B is true. So that means it can't be both A and B. We know it's not
But D
just
is our
B.
answer.
So D is our answer. Man, D is our answer. D. And if it's D, you know what we haven't heard tonight?
Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
All right. This makes me happy. 73. To be or not to be. No, that's not where we're at. To be enforceable, a sales agreement must have. To be enforceable, a sales agreement must have. Now that's all I can hear in my head. To be or not to be. That is the question. Whether it's better in the... Okay, let me not go down into that solo or to that monologue. To be enforceable, a sales agreement must have A, the signature of the wife of a married seller. Okay. Yes, Trix, I see what you said. You said, have mailed me for the copy of the math class. So I will be honest. Sorry, I stopped mid-question, guys. The last half of what we did, or the last day that we did this math class, I accidentally saved it to my computer, so there's no way for you all to see it. So I am working on doing the final editing so I can put it up, and I will email it to you and anybody else that asked me for it. I messed up on that one. The first 2 days, I saved it and I could send it to people. The last day I didn't. So I'm in process of editing. It's what I started this morning before I had to run errands for today, but I will get it to you. All right, to be enforceable, a sales agreement must have A, the signature of the wife of a married seller, B, an earnest money deposit, C, competent parties, or D, witnesses. It's okay, Jasmine. I'll probably do more math. I know people need help with math, and it will be available online. Probably not this weekend because I leave tomorrow. And I won't be able to edit until I come back. So maybe Sunday. I'm almost done. So maybe Sunday. Maybe Sunday. If not, at least Monday.
So we will see you next week then.
Yes,
right?
you will see me next week. So remember, everybody, anybody came last late, no class this Friday because I'll be at a funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't really know him that well. But it's
Okay.
still family.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I'll be back next Wednesday. And if it goes, like if we get back early, if I have time on Sunday, I could either go live or possibly finish the math thing. We'll see. We'll see which one I'm in the mood for. Anybody got an answer on this one though? So we got C. Amy says C. Caroline said C. Did anybody else say C? Yep, Stacy said C. Mariel said C. Rosalinda said C. Oh, Mariel, you said voidiated is not a standard English word. I think I'm gonna make it happen like fetch. For all of my all of my Mean Girl fans out there, I think if she can make fetch happen, I can make voidiated happen. I sure can. Voidiated. Don't know what it's gonna be yet, but we're gonna work on that. Like you be the voidiator. So, of course, our answer is C. We know in order to have an agreement, you have to have what I say, MCLL. You have to have mutual agreement. You got to have consideration. You have to have legal objective. And it's got to have, legal or love, what am I trying to say? Competent, like legal parties. They all have to be, ability to get under contract. So there you go. All right, 74 looks like numbers. Absolutely not. Not today. So does 75. All right, 76. Under Regulation Z, borrowers must be informed of in writing of what? Under Regulation Z, borrowers must be informed in writing of, is it A, the annual percentage rate, B, the total dollar amount of the finance charge, C, both A and B,
C.
D, neither A and B. Okay, Caroline says C, or E, we're not sure, but we're going to take a wild guess. Even if you're not sure, take a wild guess. What are we thinking? Oh, I got to move my notes here. We got lots of C's. Amy says C. Stacy says C's. Okay, Rosalinda says C. That's lots of C's.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you.
We like carrots,
and you should too. It goes
crunch, crunch, crunch. We got lots of C's. We got C's by everybody in the YouTube room. We got C's by everybody in the Zoom room. And the question is our answer actually C? Of course, because C is the best letter.
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, y'all know what you're doing. Boop. The answer is C. Okay, number 77. An item of personalty that is affixed to realty so as to be used as part of it is. These are the fancy words. An item of personalty that is affixed to realty so as to be used as part of it is A, a fixture, B, chattel, C, a personal property, or D, encumbered. An item of a personality that is affixed to realty.
A. Fixture.
I know, you knew I had no good sense when you started this with me. All right, you all know our answer is, of course, A, fixture. It's a piece of real property that's been permanently attached to a piece of personal property that's been permanently attached to the real property and now is going to become part of that real property. That's a fixture. All right, 78. I guess we'll finish this. Oh, well, yeah, we'll finish this exam. So that means next Wednesday, we'll start on model exam 2. Finish these questions. The requirement that all parties to a contract have an understanding of the conditions and stipulations of the agreement is. The requirement that all parties to a contract have an understanding of the conditions and stipulations of the agreement is A, consenting realty, B, a proper offer, C, good and valuable consideration, and D, mutual agreement. What say you? We got D's, we got D's, we got D's. All right. And then I saw you earlier, Tricks, putting these nuts in this chat. Oh, it's so funny that I don't have to work for a school when I do this, so I can say that. I can say that. You all already know sometimes it's slightly PG-13 around here. It's just the way it works. All right, we got D's, we got D's. Antonio says D. Uh-huh. 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 All right, you all already know the answer is, of course, D. Mutual agreement. All right, 79. A deed of conveyance must be signed by whom? A deed of conveyance must be signed by A, the grantee and the grantor, B, only by the grantor, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. Well, I'm really hoping everybody knows it's not D. Like, really hoping that's not it. Like, really. Yeah. Now, remember, you got to remember who the grantor is versus who the grantee is. And the or is the giver, so this would in general be the seller, and then this would be the buyer. This is the person giving, and this is the person receiving. I see you tricks giving me more nuts there. All right, we got bees in the trap, bees in the trap, bees in the trap, bees in the trap. Okay. You're welcome. When you're trying to go to sleep tonight and you've got that in your head, you are so very welcome. Bees in the trap, bees in the trap. It is very catchy though. And yes, our answer is B, only by the grantor. Right? You would kind of think the grantee needs to sign it, but no, they just need to accept it. The grantor most definitely has to sign it. The answer is B. And for our last one tonight, so I can, finish packing the new stuff I just bought. In the application of the income approach to appraising, which of the following statements is true? Aha! This is what we call non-calculator math. You got to understand the math in order to answer this question. In the application of the income approach to appraising, which of the following statements is true? The higher the cap rate, the lower the appraised value. The higher the cap rate, the higher the appraised value. The present value is equal to future income, or D, none of the above. Grace, you passed the national exam. Wait, I thought you had passed the national. Is this new, Grace? Do I need to? Wait, you're done? Is this new, Grace? Okay, we always have time. I don't care what time it is. We have time to celebrate you, Grace. What?
Good job, good job. Good job, good job. T-double-O-D-J-O-B. Good job, good job.
And where is it?
My money don't jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle, for sure.
Hey, congratulations, Grace. Congratulations. Oh, we love it. People in the Zoom room are congratulating you too. We love it. We love it. And you know what we haven't heard in a while? Oh, where is it? Where is it? Why can't I not find our... Oh, here. No. There it is.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
Ugh, you've been singing that all week. Yay. Oh, Grace, amazing. Two people doing this. Yay, 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 yay. I'm so proud of you. So very proud of you. All right, so what are we thinking? The higher the cap rate, the lower the appraised value. The higher the cap rate, the higher the appraised value. The present value is equal to future income, or D, none of the above. I mean, well, here's the thing. We know it's not C, because the present value isn't equal to the future income. I mean, your future income could be unlimited in theory, or absolutely nothing. Like, that's just too, ugh. Right? And I'll tell you right now, I'll help you out, it's not D. It's either the higher the cap rate, the lower the appraised value, or higher the cap rate, the higher the appraised value. So tell you a little secret. When I was first learning this, I just remember thinking, oh, when it comes to cap rates, they're backwards. Like if you don't want to understand it, you're like, Candace, just what's the answer? It's backwards. The higher the cap rate, the lower the value. And that's because the cap rate is basically telling you, it's like it has to do with the risk. The higher the risk, the lower the value. Right? So I don't know if that helps, but the higher the risk, the lower the value. Our answer is most definitely A. I know it seems like, higher rate, higher more money. Oh, if I get paid a higher pay rate, I'll make more money. It's not that. It's the opposite. The higher the cap rate, the lower the value. And just remember, NOI divided by cap rate equals value. So let's say you have the number 24. If the cap rate was 2 versus if the cap rate was 4, so 24 divided by 2 would be 12. 24 divided by 4 is going to be 6, right? 24 divided by 8. Wait, what else? No, 6. There we go. Would be 4. I can math. Notice it would be going down in value. When you make the cap rate go up, your value went down. Does that make sense? I know I just kind of did that on the fly, but let's do that one more time, just so you all can see. If you ever forget, if you're like, what was that? Am I supposed to be going up or going down? The relationship between numbers, it shouldn't matter what the number is. So let's say you had something that had an NOI of $24. We're going to divide it by the cap rate. So if we take 24 and put it over 2, that would say, hey, that's $12. That's what it's worth. Right? Does everybody understanding? Did I do that right? 12 divided by 2. Yeah, I did. 25. Why am I losing my mind? 24 divided by 2 equals, 12. Just making sure. Just making sure I'm not crazy. Does that make sense? Yes. Good. Wait. No, that's not right. It'd be a percentage. It would be 24 divided by 2% is 1,200. I was like, we have to have those numbers there. I was like, you need to do the percent. But either way, it still works. Just put a number in. You'll be good. All the percentages is moving there. But now I feel like I should do it the right way. 24 divided by 4%. 24 divided by 4% would give you $600. And 24 divided by 6% would be $400. So when your rates went up, your value went down. And that's all we got for you guys. It is 8:03. Again, I will try to see, maybe on Sunday I can work some time in, but definitely Wednesday. Sorry, I'll be at this funeral. I'm going to work on trying to get somebody else to fill in when I can't. But I think that's it. Be good. Or if you're not going
Thank
to be
you.
good.
Have a good evening.
Yes, thank
Bye,
you. Have a
Rosalinda.
good evening and a great
Bye.
weekend.
Oh, thank you. You too, everybody. Be safe. Don't do anything I would have done when I was younger. That's how it works. And anybody on YouTube, I will see you next time. Bye.